Okay, very quickly, there's two things that I thought of after I ended the last video that I just want to show quickly. The first is obviously like basically any entity in floors and walls. You know, you can offset a roof from the level. So if you have it at the roof level, but you want to offset a little bit more, you can. Um, if there's a cutoff level, I'm not really sure what that is. That's somewhat new. Um, but I believe you could probably see. You know, like maybe it would like do a cut through it probably. Maybe if we moved it down to level 3, you know, if the roof was high enough with its slope, it would cut it. But that's something that you know you can look into and play with on your own. I've never seen that function before, so it's looks like it's new to this year's Revit. The one thing that I wanted to show was this what is called a rafter cut. Now this is more for wood roofs and wood rafters, where a plumb cut you can see it's kind of like the fascia part would be flat, and then you kind of like angle it. This comes angled into it, which you can see in details better than I can describe here. Plumb cut is it starts to square it off like this, and then a two cut square. It kind of looks the same, but there are different details that can do a better job of showing what the difference between these three are. The other thing is this slope. So you can define the slope. Say if I have two different slopes, like this. So I have like a weird shaped roof. If I come here and where it says slope, if I type in 612, it'll override that and make everything even. So that's kind of like a overall roof slope for the building. So those are those three, and then the very last thing was if you did a roof and you wanted it to actually, so if you used the roof command to do a roof and you wanted it to actually kind of show the offset for, and let me actually go. Let me go 4 feet for the parapet. So if you use the roof tool and you actually you want to show kind of like how a flat roof actually slopes a little bit. What you can do here, instead of doing that modify geometry thing that I was showing you, where you can raise up the edge if you wanted to. An easier way to do it, to manipulate it, is if you have all this defined slope, which you can see here how it's sloping up, you can actually do negative slopes. So I can say like even a negative 1 inch by 12 inch is too much for a flat roof. It's usually like I think it may be 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. I forget exactly what the slope is. And that's something again that's defined in the code, and I think it may vary by region, depending on like if you have snow and stuff as well. But now you can start to see what the slope would be and how like very minimal it is. So again, if you look at, I know it's less than an inch, but I forget exactly what it is. It may be either 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch. I forget exactly. But that's something that you guys will want to look into for your details. But that's how you can quickly, start to get a flat sloped roof, and you can start to see it a little better if I turned on cut line so you can see where the actual cut is, and how it slopes into. And now this is if it's sloping to just the center of the roof. A lot of times there's different roof. Maybe you have like 6 roof drains or depending on the size of your roof, multiple roof drains, and it all will slope to that roof drain. So that's where it can get a little bit tricky. And maybe you could do multiple roofs so you can have them all sloped, which we could actually start to do here. If I cut this into quadrants, maybe I can start to show it a little bit. So I'll do it as a quadrant kind of system. So say there would be say there's 4 roof. This would be an instance where there's 4 roof drains in the building. Oops. What I want to make. And then you could take this. Easiest thing to do is just mirror it. So I can mirror it by the center line. That's why this is not straight. There we go. So I want to make sure that that's on the center. That's why sometimes working in 3D can be a little confusing. You can actually get it to be straight. So sometimes it's always better to work in 2D. And we'll say negative. We'll do -1/8 for now. And then now, easiest way would probably be just to mirror this. And then you can mirror these two. So now this is an instance where like you'd have a roof drain here, a roof drain there, and a roof drain there, and a roof drain there. And these would actually come to a point instead of having that little line there. You would want them to actually all meet at a point. So you'd have to, set it up so it meets there. So that's how it would start to look. And then there'd probably be something in the middle as well. But again, it's not. And then when you look at this in section, and this again is why I say to use a flat roof, and then with details, we can show the tampered insulation and how the roof actually sloped, is because it's showing the bottom sloping as well. And like I said, the bottom of the structure of the roof does not slope. It's just the tampered insulation up top that slopes. And everything else below with the roof insulation and membranes, and if there's a substrate or anything like that, or roof deck, that roof decking system that looks like corrugated metal, those are always flat. And then it's the tampered insulation is what gives a flat roof its minimal slope for drainage, for water drainage. But for aesthetic purposes, this can start to show the slope, and then with details we can start to actually show how it really slopes. So it's up to you the way that ways that you'd want to do it. I recommend if you have a flat roof, just to use a floor because it's simpler. To just, especially if you already have one created, you just copy it up and put it in, and you're good to go. So that's it for the roof tutorial.